planning a home renovation, the biggest mistake you can make is eyeballing your layout because the excitement instantly vanishes when your expensive new furniture completely blocks the room's flow. Today, I'm giving you a step-by-step framework and the tools to map out your space yourself so you can guarantee your furniture fits perfectly. I'm Alexandra from the Space Planner. I make videos to help homeowners like you plan your home renovations like an interior designer. Okay, let's dive in. When I work with clients, the first thing I start with is what we call a design brief. A design brief is essentially notes on how you want to use the room and what furniture you need to make a room a success. Ask yourself these questions. Who's going to use the space? And how do you use the space on a normal day? What daily routines does the space need to support? For example, do your kids come home from school and dump their bags in this space? If yes, you're going to want to plan a storage area for your school bags. How would you like to use the space differently? What frustrates you the most about your current layout? Will you be entertaining guests? If yes, you may want to plan out some flexible seating that can be pulled out to accommodate them. What storage do you need for this room? This is absolutely crucial for creating a space that works perfectly for how you live. What furniture do you need to keep? Make a note of the dimensions and write a list of all the furniture you need to achieve your ideal room layout. This is step one to planning a successful layout. The more thought you put into this, the happier you will be with the results because your layout is going to be bespoke just to the way you want to live. When you come home after a long day, you'll be so happy that you thought to plan in storage for your bag right where you land in the hallway. And to help you with this first step, I actually have a free project brief PDF. It's really great, easy to use. You just download it, fill it in, and it has all the questions already on it, which you need to make this first step much easier. I recommend that you go to thespaceplanner.studio/brief. I'll put the link in the description. So now you've written your design brief and you know how you want to use the room and what furniture you need. But before you start planning your actual layout, I need to give you a few more steps first to give you all the tools that you need to make it great. So next, have a look at your space and assess these things. The flow and circulation around the room. Which door will be your main entrance? Do you need to cross the room to enter another room or an exterior door? And if yes, what's the natural path through the room? Window placements and natural light. Think about the views out of your windows and whether you want to highlight them or maybe you want to detract the eye away. Maybe it's your neighbour's washing. Look at the natural light in the room. Where does it get the sun in the morning and the evening? This will affect where you will place some of your furniture. Obviously, you wouldn't want a bright window directly behind a TV or a computer screen. A few years ago, I lived on the beautiful island of Cyprus, where I designed and project managed my own self-build. The house was built in a beautiful orange grove in the countryside, and as you can imagine, the views out the windows were stunning. So I planned all my layouts before I even started building, and I made sure that there was no furniture obstructing the views as you entered the room. So the first thing you did is walk in and you went, wow, and saw the views. This was really important to how I wanted to live, and it made me feel great in every single room in the house. Right, so you also note all the existing fixed features in the room that may affect your layout, such as lighting. Have you got lighting that's fixed? Maybe you are not going to have a chance to change your lighting. So any fixed lightings, fireplaces, heat sourcing, boxing, light switches, socket outlets. These all need to be taken into consideration. I suggest noting your room assessment findings on your brief notes, so then you've got everything in one place. So these steps, writing a brief and assessing the room, are what interior designers do before starting their layouts. However, in order for you to create a layout that immediately feels comfortable and intuitively right as soon as you walk into the room, I need to give you this next step, which is an overview of the layout design principles that designers use. These principles are scale, proportion, and balance. Let's start with scale and proportion. Some rooms are deeply uncomfortable to look at. You can't even explain why. This is usually because the scale and proportion are wrong. In interior design, scale is how big an item is compared to the actual room it's in, and proportion is how big the pieces of furniture look when sitting next to each other. When the scale works, you feel it immediately. Nothing bumps into anything else and everything just makes sense. Proportion isn't just about what you put into the room, it's about what you leave out. So this is called negative space, which is basically empty space. A room perfectly proportioned is about 60% filled with furniture and 40% empty space for your eyes to rest and your body to walk through. To help you with this, I've created a really useful free layout planning kit. Now this has got spacing guidelines showing you how much space you need, say, between the coffee table and the sofa, or around a dining table, around a bed. It also has the sizes of common furniture, both in inches and centimetres, so you can get your scale and proportion just right and avoid bumping into that coffee table on the way to the sofa. To get this really helpful layout planner, go to thespaceplanner.studio/layout and you can download it for free. Links in the description. So, some simple rules. If you have a small or low ceilinged room, choose furniture with visible legs and slim profiles. Avoid huge puffy sectional sofas with massive rolled arms. If you have a large room and you're lucky enough to have high ceilings, use oversized rugs, tall bookcases and chunky furniture to fill the volume of the room. Avoid lots of tiny, scattered pieces of furniture, which makes the room look messy and unanchored. Now let's look at the design principle balance. Think of layout balance as the vibe or the mood of a room. It's all about how weight is distributed across the space. If you put all of your heavy furniture on one side of the room, it's going to feel like a sinking ship. To fix this, designers use 3 kinds of balance: symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial. Here's how they work. Symmetrical balance is the easiest, most classic way to arrange a room. Everyone knows what symmetrical balance is. It feels formal, orderly, calm, and predictable. It's very soothing to the brain because it relies on 0 effort to process. This is really easy to do. You can place a bed in the centre of the wall, flanked by 2 identical bedside tables and 2 identical lamps. In a living room, you put a fireplace in the centre with 2 identical armchairs facing each other perfectly on either side of a coffee table. But perfect balance isn't really always the goal. A room that's 100% perfectly balanced can actually feel a bit boring, static, or like a doctor's waiting room. Interior designers use dynamic tension. This deliberately breaks the balance in one small spot to create energy and draw the eye. In a perfectly symmetrical bedroom, you put an oversized leaning floor mirror slightly off centre on one wall, or hang art asymmetrical to the headboard. This instantly makes the space feel human, artistic and styled rather than staged. Asymmetrical balance, or the seesaw, this is the cool modern cousin of symmetry. Instead of matching identical objects, you balance the room using different objects that have the same visual weight. Think of a seesaw. You can balance an adult on one side with 2 kids on the other. They don't look the same, but the weight balances out. Asymmetry makes a room feel casual, dynamic, energetic, and modern. Imagine you have a large, heavy, 3-seater sofa on one side of your living room. Instead of putting an identical sofa opposite it, you put 2 smaller armchairs with a small side table between them. The 2 chairs combined equal the visual weight of the big sofa. So the room feels balanced, but it's more interesting to look at. Now, radial symmetry is when everything in the room radiates outward from one central circular point. So instead of balancing from left to right, you're balancing from inside out. Radial symmetry makes the room feel social, welcoming, and inclusive. It naturally draws people inward to a focal point. It's really good for dining rooms. Circular dining tables are brilliant for socialising. Large entryways, cosy conversation nooks. Think of a round dining room table with the chairs pulled up all the way round it. In a living room, you can achieve this by placing a circular rug or a round coffee table dead centre and angling all your seating and sofas in a circular shape facing the centre point. Most homeowners only think about horizontal balance, the left side of the room versus the right side. They completely forget about the vertical balance. So people buy low profile coffee tables, sofas, low TV stands, and leaving the top 60% of the walls totally bare. The room ends up feeling like all the air was sucked out of the top half. You have to balance the heavy floor furniture by drawing the eye upwards, using high hanging curtains, tall floor lamps, vertical artworks, or hanging plants, etc. Now you have 3 out of the 6 steps to be able to create a winning layout for your room. You have the brief, you've assessed the floor space, and you've learned how to scale, proportion and balance. So next we're going to get into some practical work and create an actual floor plan. Now without a scaled floor plan, you're still just guessing. I know the idea of drawing a floor plan can feel a bit overwhelming if you've never done it before, but trust me, this is so much easier than you think. There are 2 methods of creating a floor plan, either on grid paper or by hand using a free floor planning app. Now, I've done detailed step-by-step videos on both options. I recommend using the free site floorplanner.com. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by them. I just find it easy to use and it's free. Once you've measured your room and created your scaled floor plan, you're ready to zone your room. Using the activities noted on your brief and your assessment of the room, which we covered earlier in the video, you can now do a simple zoning plan. Remember to include the circulation areas. If you're unsure how much a dining space or a seating area takes up, I have all that information on my really helpful free layout guide. Links in the description. Now you have your approximate zones mapped out, let's look at testing your layouts on your scale plan. Taking the dimensions of your existing furniture and any furniture you want to buy on your list, start testing the different layouts. Start with the largest, most important piece. This is usually a bed or a sofa. When you're testing different layouts on your plan, ask yourself, what will be the focal point of the room? This doesn't have to be a large piece of furniture. It can be a painting, a stunning view, or a fireplace. Ask, is the room balanced? Are there positive and negative spaces around the furniture? Can people circulate comfortably around your furniture? And ask, have I left a clear pathway through the room to another door if it's needed? What will you see as soon as you walk into the room? How will the layout work with my current lighting if you can't change it? Really spend some time on this. Think of it like a jigsaw puzzle. You'll have that aha moment when it all fits together. Be aware though, you may have to be willing to compromise on some pieces of furniture to make the room work really properly for you. So to recap, before you buy any furniture, plan your layout using these steps we've talked about today. Create a simple design brief, assess the room properly, zone the space, and test different layout options using scale, proportion and balance to make the room feel and look right, and importantly, make it comfortable for practical use. These are the same steps that I use to create layouts that I can feel confident will work in real life before my clients spend any money on furniture. Like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos like this that are going to help you plan out your renovation. Let me know in the comments if there are any particular renovation problems that you would like me to make videos about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.